I spent 150 bucks this weekend on 15 books. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. And in this video, I'm going to show off my recent comic book haul. Got to go hunting this weekend, picked up about 15 books, spent about $150. So I got some pretty cool stuff overall to show off to you guys here today. But before I get into the haul, if you guys could drop me a like or comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the content, help support the channel, do one of those things, I would appreciate it. And I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking, hey, it's Monday, Swaggle, why aren't you doing the Go Collect Hottest Comics of the Week? Well, Go Collect, I guess, revamped their website, didn't have a hot list this week, so we're taking a week off. But we will, I'm sure, pick it up next week whenever they decide to post their new books. And I definitely have some feedback on their new website overall. I don't know if you guys got a chance to check it out, but I was pretty disappointed overall. I mean, I feel like they got a lot of bugs to fix, but that's neither here nor there. We got some interesting books to talk about here. And what I like to do when I talk about the comic book hauls and show off the books and everything like that is I like to kind of, frame it in a certain kind of way. Like, what's the theme of this haul? Or what as a collector was I thinking about? And really, to me, this haul is all about finding opportunity. Because when I found myself out in the shops this weekend, I didn't really have any expectations. Like, I wasn't necessarily trying to buy anything specific. I wasn't trying to spend a certain amount of money. It just was like letting books come to me, letting things find you. I like to say to you guys, let books find you, or other ideas of like, if you guys saw my analogies to sports, drafting and stuff like that. It's just, best available. Sometimes you just got to draft best available. And everything in this haul to me was books that I thought were interesting spec and best available based on the prices that I got. So let's get into the fun stuff right now. The first book I want to show off is this one right here, Invincible Iron Man, number 54. And what is the significance of this? Well, this, of course, is the first appearance of Moondragon. Now, I got this one at a really good deal. I got this one for 20 bucks. That said, it is definitely a beat-up copy. It's about a VG, I'd say. You can see probably right there, pretty big color break overall. But I think that this book is a really great spec book, in my opinion. I think this is one of the best, probably pure specs right now out in the, MCU market overall. I feel like, Moondragon is a character that feels like they might be coming in the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie, but there hasn't really been too many rumors or too many murmurs about her actually showing up. So as far as like a spec character is concerned, I feel like Moondragon is one of the best ones up there. A lot of people thinking that they might expand the story of Drax and his daughter. Of course, Moondragon is the daughter of Drax, and this, of course, is her first appearance. Although in this particular iteration, she was known as Madam Midnight or Lady something, not Moondragon. Name totally escapes me at the moment. But this is a great pickup. And considering what the prices are going for this thing, for this book right here, for 20 bucks, like even though it's a VG, I feel like the eBay prices are way above this. So I like to pick up books like this. This is actually my second copy. So I like to have books like this in my collection. Really easy to, utilize for trades later on for a book like that, especially if it gets hot. All right, going on to the next book here. This is a very cool book. This is one that, I actually do think that Como had talked about this one. Shout out to Como's Comics and comic books. But this is a great book, in my opinion. This is like, a book that I would definitely give the thumbs up as far as like investment books are concerned. But this one is Spider-Gwen #1, first ongoing Spider-Gwen series. Of course, Spider-Gwen, a massive character to come out in the recent years of Marvel comic books, right up there with Miles Morales. I mean, I think I don't know about you guys. I don't know about the people who, watching this video, how you guys feel specifically about Spider-Gwen and the new characters in the new generation and things like that. But I don't know if it's quite understood how popular Spider-Gwen is. Like, when I go see my like nieces and nephews and like little kids and stuff like that, they are obsessed with this character. They are obsessed with Miles Morales and characters like that. So, to me, this is one of those like Wolverine #1 type of books where it's like, these solo ongoing series are always good investments, in my opinion. I think that they're always going to be desirable, and especially for the new generation, a character like this, first ongoing for Spider-Gwen. I think that this is a great book and actually really, really undervalued actually at this current time, because it's really not that expensive. I got this one for $14, which is a pretty good price, but I think you can find them for $20 out there, when you go out into LCSs and things like that. But even the CGC 9.8s, they're not that expensive overall. It's a great cover, awesome color palette. I love this book, and I definitely think that that's one that's going to continue to go up, as we get more of her into the Spider-Verse 2, and we get more of her in the future. Similarly, this is another book that I think is great for a lot of the reasons I said about Spider-Gwen. This is Nova #1. This is Sam Alexander's first ongoing series. And again, I like books like this overall, like the first ongoing series type books, Spider-Gwen #1, Nova #1. You guys know when I do my key comic book spotlight videos, I always talk about one of the books I like to point out is the first ongoing solo series, because right there, you see Nova right there in the title. I think that that's a really cool thing to own as a collector. And books like this, I think, are really good, whether they're speccing, investing, just good opportunity. So anytime I come across books like this, I like to maybe pick them up. You can see right there, this one was $5. Definitely, in my opinion, I think Sam Alexander is another character that is destined to make their way into the MCU at some point. All right, the next book I got here is a very, very cool Spec book. This is one that, I've been thinking about this universe of Spec a lot and haven't quite talked about them. Eventually, when I make my next sleeper Spec book video, I will definitely be talking about stuff within this world, so you guys are getting a little bit of preview here. But this right here is Champions #8. And what is the significance of this? Well, this is the first appearance of Yuri Petrovic as the Crimson Dynamo. Now, who is Yuri Petrovic? It doesn't really matter. All you need to know is that Yuri Petrovic is the version of the Crimson Dynamo that is currently associated with the Winter Guard in the current comic book storyline that we have going on in Marvel comic books. So, to me, I think it's really interesting that in Black Widow, we got, the allusions to the Red Guardian, allusions to the Winter Guard. We got the Red Guardian, we got all the backstory leading up to that. There was some rumors that, maybe we were going to see Crimson Dynamo. He had that Instagram post about it. We got Ursa Major. We got that whole universe going on right now. And additionally, we have the current storyline of the Winter Guard going on as an ongoing series, or maybe it's a limited series. But overall, to me, I think that that's not a coincidence. I do actually think that knowing that we got Red Guardian signed on David Harbour for more movies in the future, I do think that the MCU is eventually going to do more with the Winter Guard. So I like all these characters like Dark Star and Ursa Major, and then Yuri Petrovic, who is the Crimson Dynamo in that specific team. So I like books like this. I think it's really interesting. I do think at some point we're going to get Crimson Dynamo in the MCU. And I feel like, that original Tales of Suspense book is going to be the one that really, really takes off in the market. But this is the version I think that we will probably get in the MCU, this character, the Yuri character. And for that reason, I like that book as a nice little Spec, Champions #8. All right, the next few books I want to talk about as kind of a trio, because they all sort of associate with each other. But I got a bunch of Alpha Flight books, and Alpha Flight books to me are really interesting because it seems like Alpha Flight is a super hot Spec right now. And a lot of people are excited about the possibility of Alpha Flight showing up in the MCU. Now, I feel like we're probably a little ways away from Alpha Flight overall. I mean, if you really think about it, if we're going to bring in the mutants and the X-Men universe, and we got to talk about all the set up all just the X-Men alone, and then we got to get to Alpha Flight. I mean, it feels like that's, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years at best away from us really getting all these characters in the MCU. But with that said, I do actually think that that would be something that, Marvel would want to explore. This is Alpha Flight #5, the first appearance of Elizabeth II Youngman, who later becomes Talisman. So she's just a significant character within context to the Alpha Flight team. And then later, after she makes her first appearance in this book here, she later becomes Talisman right here, which is the other book that I picked up. This is Alpha Flight #19, and Talisman would be eventually her, superhero name. And then additionally, I picked up this one right here. This is Alpha Flight #32. This is when Heather Hudson takes over as the Vindicator character. Now, I do feel like if we get Alpha Flight in the MCU, we're going to get a Vindicator for sure, but I'm not really sure if it's going to be, the male version, the female version. I could see with Marvel doing a diversity push, maybe they want to have Heather Hudson be the Vindicator character. So another book that I thought was interesting for Alpha Flight 32. So I like these Alpha Flight books. I think there's a lot of keys in that series overall that could get hot when and if we eventually get them in the MCU. All right, the next book I got here is another one for, the reasons I talked about with Spider-Gwen and Nova. This is Deathlock #1 from 1991, I believe that it is, but this is the first ongoing for Deathlock as a character. Now, I'm not necessarily a super big Deathlock fan. I think he's kind of cool, but I've never been like he's just never been a character that, resonated with me in any kind of way. A lot of people feeling like Deathlock is going to, make an appearance. A lot of people specking on the Deathlock books. And again, for first solo ongoing series, I think that's a great spec for any character that you want to be specking on. So decided to pick this one up. Similarly, had to pick this one up as well. This is Excalibur #1, another cool spec book. This is that first ongoing for the Excalibur team. Again, a lot of people feeling like Captain Britain could play a role in the MCU in the future. This was one of those books that, I tend to pass by this one a lot, and I just never end up picking it up. But today, or this last weekend, was the weekend that I decided, hey, you know what? I don't have any of these books in my collection. I feel like I should just have one just in case, and I decided to pick this one up for that reason. All right, speaking of books that I decided to pick up because I felt like I should have it in my collection, this one I found for $8, Secret Invasion #1. We all know Secret Invasion is coming. We all think that this is probably a book that's going to get hot if, history proves us right with these types of things like Infinity Gauntlet, etc., with the storyline books and things like that. So Secret Invasion #1 is definitely a book that's already been hot in the market. So I decided that I would pick up a copy. This one does have a couple spine ticks on it, so that's why it was marked down so much. But I still thought that this was a cool book, and I do think that this will get again really, really hot. It'll probably end up being like a $50 or $60 book once we get the show. So I thought that it'd be good for to pick this one up. Secret Invasion #1, not a bad spec in my opinion. All right, this next one is a interesting one that I've actually kind of always wanted this, but I also got this because I feel like this is, again, one of those books that would presumably get hot if there was another movie or something like that came out. But this one is Simpsons Comics #1, that great homage cover to Fantastic Four #1. This is the first, I believe, Simpsons in comic books by Bongo Comics, and this is just kind of a fun book. I mean, I love the Simpsons. I think they're great. I know people love their cartoon comic covers or cartoons in comics and things like that. And this is just one of those books that I feel like, it could totally get super hot if there was like another Simpsons movie or something like that. And we all know, Simpsons, MCU, it's all Marvel, it's all Disney. They all are owned by each other at this point. So I think that this is kind of a cool, interesting book to own. I think that this will be something that kind of as like a tongue-in-cheek collector item. People will actually always sort of want a book like this. So I decided to pick this one up because I didn't have it. And I do actually think that this is a cool cover. And if I did have an FF1, I think that would be kind of fun to see next to each other. All right, a few more books here. Coming in the end, this is one that I talked about in a spec book video. I did have a copy of this, but I decided to pick up another copy because I felt pretty good about my spec. This is Giant Size Fantastic Four #2, first appearance of Tempus. If you guys saw my spec book video, I mentioned that Tempus is one of the agents of Immortus, who lives in limbo and travels throughout time. I kind of felt like this was a good spec because if we're going to get more Kangs, we're going to see Immortus, we're going to see Ramatet, things like that. I could see all the agents of these specific characters popping up, and for that reason, this is a cool book in my opinion. So I decided to pick up another copy when I came across it. So Giant Size Fantastic Four #2. All right, three more books here, this one right here is a very cool one. This is one that I talked about in a what you could potentially collect next, and I talked about suits for Spider-Man. This one is Web of Spider-Man #100, and this is the first appearance of the Armor Spider-Man suit. This is just one that kind of gives me member berries, nostalgia vibes. I remember this as a kid, having that 90s reflective cover with the green. I think this is just a cool book. I got it for $15. He gave me a discount. Probably got it for like $12 or so. And this is not necessarily a book that I think is going to, blow up, or we're going to see this, suit of armor in an MCU movie anytime soon. This is just one that I just like for the collection. it gives me nostalgia and things like that. And I also like to pick up books like this because I think that this is a cool book. And, you know, I don't know if you guys happen to see my claim sale that I did, but I thought it was really fun to do the claim sale, and not saying that I'm going to sell that one, but I like to do the giveaways during the claim sale. I thought that that was a kind of a cool thing to do. And I could see myself, you know, giving away a book like that, you know, as a subscriber giveaway or just in a live stream and things like that. And I think this is a cool book to give away in those types of streams. All right, the last two books I got here are two very cool ones. This one, I mean, it's cool for me because I like Avengers books. This one is Avengers number 81. You guys know I'm working on my Avengers Grail run. I was looking for a lot of Avengers books out there, but I didn't come across too many when I was hunting. I did come across this one right here. Again, he had it at 15, gave me a little bit of a discount, so I got it for 12. It's kind of like a run filler. There's nothing super significant about this one, but, you know, Silver Age book. I needed it for my collection. Number 81. Cool cover, though. You know, Vision and Scarlet Witch. So glad to check this one off of the list for myself. And then the last book I got is also an Avengers book. And this one I did get as sort of like spec and investment type of thing because I do already have a copy of this. This one is Avengers number 69. Got this one for $30. And what is the significance of this? Well, this is the first appearance of the Grand Master, who, of course, Jeff Goldblum plays in the MCU. This is also the first cameo appearance of the Squadron Sinister, or AKA the Squadron Supreme. But when they made their first appearance, they were villains. We're talking about Nighthawk, Hyperion, and the other characters whose names totally escape me. The other thing that's cool about this is that this is actually a Kang storyline. You know, when we get the Grand Master, he actually goes against Kang in like a battle of wits, or he pits the Avengers against the Squadron Sinister in order for like the fate of the world and whatnot. So this is a really cool book to me, though, in my opinion. This is actually, I think I did a video a couple of months back talking about, you know, undervalued books or something like that, and I talked about this one specifically. And one of the reasons I talked about it is, one, it was cool because it had Kang involved in it. Two, it was really cool because it had the first appearance of the Grand Master. And I really do believe that we're going to get the Grand Master back in the MCU. I think Jeff Goldblum and Benicio del Toro, the Collector, I think are going to play a role in some kind of way. I think that they could definitely have a storyline with Kang. You know, the Grand Master is all about playing games and things like that. And I think that doing a movie or an event film where it's like him doing something against Kang would be super interesting. Additionally, because we have all this multiverse stuff going on, you know, I never thought that we would necessarily see the Squadron Sinister or the Squadron Supreme in the MCU. But now that we have all this crazy multiverse stuff, I actually do think it's a strong possibility that we could see characters like Nighthawk or Hyperion, characters like that, make their way into the MCU at some point. So this one right here, Avengers number 69 and number 70, which 70, of course, is the first full appearance of that team, I actually do think are great specs for that reason. Anyways, that is all I have for this video. Those were my, 15 books, spent about $150. So again, to me, I had no expectations this weekend when I was going hunting. I just was out there looking for good deals, looking for whatever I could find for, good opportunities. And I felt like I picked up a couple of interesting books. Anyways, let me know what you guys got over the weekend. If you picked up anything, drop me a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and I will see you in the next video.